Good morning and welcome back to the World Fair 2020 edition. It is the last day of 2 weeks of live broadcasting, and there's no better way to finish it than with my favorite family business, Briggs family. Thanks for coming all the way up from Georgia.
Thanks for having us.
And it's Noonan, Georgia, right?
Noonan, where Alan Jackson's from.
Now say it.
Noonan.
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 Do you have to dip when you, is that like
Noonan?
Noonan. Yeah, kind of. It's the dance. Yeah.
Guys, tell us first. I think a lot of people know what the tape thing is, but we're going to go through the whole product line anyway. But talk about your business, because I think a lot of people sometimes don't understand that there's families behind a lot of the products in the collision repair business, and y'all are my favorite family business. So tell us the story.
Well, you know, we started Collision Edge with the thought that we want to help customers, because I have a day job. I help customers all day, and we started Collision Edge because I thought some of these things could actually help the industry, and at the same point help our family, right? So we don't take any salaries out of Collision Edge. Our kids go to college on this, and it takes care of their needs, right? So we don't make any money out of this. So that's Collision Edge is basically about that, and we've got probably too many ideas. So far we've got some things that are working, and
like,
some
whoa!
things that
Whoa, Millie.
I get calls all the time. These guys are like, "Hey, could you make this new thing?" I'm like, "No, bad. It's bad, right?" So
we need to crowdfund.
Is the whole house full of whiteboards for just writing down stuff?
Yeah. So we've worked really hard, and it's been good. The industry, some of the guys in the industry that have promoted us, and everybody thinks that we're like, spending all this money, and all this has been word of mouth. It's just been, it's been cool. There's some great people in this industry.
Yeah, it has been cool. And if you ever get a chance to get down to Noonan, look, I got it. All right, if you get a chance to get down to Noonan, all of the products that you buy from is assembled in your barn on the property, usually mostly by one of the three kids that are out there. And that's if you follow Tim or Collision Edge on social media, you'll see the kids out there gluing the magnets on and putting it all together. So it's a fantastic product. Definitely one that we use. I think every shot, if you ever watch a video, there's a tape thing somewhere.
It's actually kind of a joke. We count how many. I'm like, just got 7. Let's just send her some more.
Yeah. There's a tape thing everywhere, just because they make them so convenient. But then you shot me a great idea this morning about what I should be doing with my TriOxyClean.
Right.
That I hadn't even thought about. So I could be putting my tape thing on the side of my TriOxyClean. And right?
That's
All right, so let's walk through the product line, because I want to make sure. I know everybody thinks about the tape thing. Right. But let's talk about the tape thing, then let's go caddy, and let's just go through it all.
Estimating tools.
All right, so one of the products we're best known for is the tape thing. It's a magnetic tape core device. It has a ledge that only rides the tape core. So when you put it onto the tape, it doesn't touch. So it keeps the tape edge crisp and clean. It free spins, so you can pull the tape very, very easily. I'm going to throw this down on the floor. You can stick this to the paint booth wall, tool cart, prep cart, keep it up off the floor, keeping it from getting damaged. I mean, we walked through a body shop one time and pulled up, I can't tell how many tape rolls that were just thrown and damaged, and that's money and time, right?
And there's a couple other things there too, right? So you'll see me do this all day long too, right? After taping cars, because painting was my background. I wasn't a good painter, but it was my background. There's a lot of other painters aren't good painters either. But
I run everything.
Right. So, but it does spin real freely, and then I get to keep it up off the ground. And one of the reasons is even if I don't ruin the whole tape roll, right? So I have a lot of techs go, "Oh, I'm ruining the whole tape roll." Anytime I get dirt, debris, any of that on the edges of the paint, which this is sticky, and I then pick that up and then go to tape the car, well, then that's on the edge of that tape, and that's going into my job, and then that's something else I got to nib later, or I got to try to do some stuff with. So this spins amazing, and a lot of people will go, "It's just, what do you mean? I can spin it on my hand." Nope, you can't. I challenge you.
Well, we've even had people try to take it off to use the tape, because they're so used to using tape without the tape thing.
Right.
Like they'll see it on the booth wall, and you'll see them trying to pick the tape off. Why pick it up and use it? Right. That's what we do it for.
Right.
Well, and also we've converted a lot of people that like to put it on their wrist.
Well, look, you still can.
I can. But we've converted a lot of people that do that, because it creates calluses on your hands.
Yeah.
And also we have a tool that's a companion product called the Tape Thing Caddy. You can see it's curved, it's ergonomically designed. It's designed that way so that you can put it on your front pocket, on your back pocket, or on your belt. I like to put it on my front pocket. But it allows you to be able to pull the tape directly from the caddy or use it. Technicians need a lot more than tape to prep a car. This thing right here, how many times have you seen them put it in their mouth, behind their ear? We've got stories after stories.
Yep.
And these are fines from OSHA.
Yeah.
When they're on the floor. So we created this razor blade right here specifically, this magnet right here to hold the razor blade. We have a place for a scuff pad right here.
Scuff pad or anything that's hook it.
Right,
Anything
hook
abrasive,
it,
yeah.
anything abrasive. We have another magnet right here that you can put any tool that you need that's ferrous. And then you have the hooks here. And the reason you have the hooks is for a rag. And the reason there's two is if you're left or right-handed.
Yeah.
So we've tried to think through pretty much
everything. We watch painters work forever. Like I've been in the industry going and making shop calls and all this stuff, and I've watched painters running around, and I see 1,000 razor blades on the floor. I see rolls of tape everywhere. So what we try to do is think about what are the things that a guy uses day in, day out when he's prepping a car. And we try to build the caddy purpose-built for that solution, right? And a lot of guys don't get it. I get calls all the time like, what's this for? What's that for? We've actually got a SOP that we can show later that kind of shows every feature and kind of how it works. And there's some other things we want to do with it as well, but that's coming in the future probably.
Yeah.
So these, I don't remember if I said, but it comes in 2-inch, 1.5 inch, and 3/4.
Yeah, and they've got them stepped down there on the table for so just about every size core that you have. And we even got them, so as a painter, first of all, if you tell me that you don't need this because you're going to put it on your wrist, I got a few words for you that we also say in the country, but it doesn't work, right? So I may be able to walk around the shop like this, but when it comes to taping the car and then I get to a stopping point, maybe I got to tuck some plastic. I always used to chunk this up on my tape core up on the, and then what happens? It rolls off. It rolls to the other side of the paint booth. It rolls across the other side of the shop.
Yeah, it's actually underneath. It's on the glass, right, right above the wiper with the plastic over top of it.
Right.
And when you pull it out, you drive it out,
and then you figure you'll get that later, and then you don't. And
then you go wait.
It's just one of those things.
So when I invented the tape thing, I was standing in the shop and I was watching this guy mask a car. And he was standing there, he was masking a fender. He put the tape under his arm, he put it in his mouth. He laid it down the fender and it rolled off. It rolled all the way across the shop and fell over in a puddle of water.
So he went and got a new one?
It was a roll 233 plus, 1.5 inches. And he just went and got a new one. I was like, that's an $8, $9 roll of tape. It's crazy, right?
So we spent about 3 weekends of our date nights trying to come up with the prototype.
And you stayed.
You wouldn't want to live in my house.
What are we on right now? Y'all are on like 25 years of marriage?
Yeah.
I think I just saw.
27.
27 years of marriage.
Don't ask me, I get in trouble.
Right.
I think, yes, whatever you say, whatever she says, that's right.
Look, man, if a marriage can survive the tape thing and constantly wanting to invent new products, man, I think you guys are set for a while. But we got them in here, and I know my team, my production team, we use a lot of gaff tape in the video world.
Yeah.
Gaffers are always running around what used to be a gaff belt, which was a piece of string with about 6 different rolls of gaff tape on them, and they got their hands on this and they were like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And so we use them now for production.
Yeah.
So.
And then this is the fine line.
All right.
Actually, the way the fine line's built, it's so narrow, we've got a little bit different contraption.
Had to move away from the
for the fine line. But one of the biggest problems with fine line when you pull it is it stretches. And if you stretch it and you stick it on the car, the edge is going to roll up, right? Yeah. We have a lot of guys now putting a 3/4 and a 1/4 inch fine line on a 1-inch tape thing, because then you can get for a bumper, you can fine line your edges and also do your masking all at once. So that works really well. So it both fit the fine line, but this is just purpose built for it. When you pull this, there's no resistance on the core. You don't get that stretch, and you can actually kind of gear it to get the right tension that you want. So fine lines are available, 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, and 1/8 inch. They're in a set. And this box is another purpose-built deal, because how many times do guys use fine line? They throw it on the floor, hanging on that gun hook in the booth. This is made to sit right outside the booth where it won't get hot, and it keeps everything clean and nice, right?
Right.
So
yeah, we could have gone chintzy on the container, disposable container.
Could have not saved a container at all, right?
Right.
But we specifically designed it this way so you could protect your tape.
And that's the key. So for my more commonly used tapes, I'm using them frequently, hanging them outside the booth, hanging them inside the booth or whatever. I'm not super worried about a whole lot of debris. My fine lines,
it's got to be perfect.
I'm not using them all the time. Only maybe a textured bumper cover here and there. Really in the collision repair industry, my custom painters are using them every day. But I want to keep them clean.
Yeah.
And when we tend to get things really dirty in the collision repair business. It's what we do, right?
Yeah, and so you can see the 3 sizes right here, and they magnetically hold together too. That's something that's kind of cool.
It worked out really well. I know a lot of the custom painters, the guys that are laying out lots of really intricate designs. Candy and Chrome.
Oh yeah,
one of my favorite
Amazing.
Instagrams to
Great
follow.
guys.
The guy's amazing. He can't live without them, right? I think if I went in there and tried to take them away from him, I'd end up in a gunfight.
Yeah,
or something.
you know, at SEMA every year we do a tape thing challenge, tape off challenge, and a lot of the custom guys will come do flames, and they'll pick this up and they'll go like, oh my word, how easy, it is.
We had the first prototype at SEMA, I think 3 years ago, and I went out there. I went and found a guy that was doing custom painting. I said, put your filing on here, and he went, well, this is going to be really good.
Yeah.
So we lopped off another big hunk of cash, and we made some more molds, and we just keep going. We love solving problems for customers.
Well, the tape thing, the tape caddy, it's an amazing tool, especially for detailers, for preppers, for blueprinters. I've got a little piece of Velcro on my pen. It sits right there. I can walk around, blueprint a car, do anything that I need to.
That's
right.
why we got these, right?
Right. And so then we'll go a little bit more to our blueprinters. Because I'm not a big fan of writing on cars. It just causes too many, whether it's staining, I get that ghosting effect later. It's visually unnerving to me to watch a car all mocked up. And then I'm kind of like, man, if your tech can't figure out what to do, if you literally have to write on everything, we have a problem. So you came up with these arrows that leave no residue. I get no glue. There's no tack off of them. Got different colors. We got the green, the red, and the yellow for color indicators to say, don't touch this or do touch this.
Prior damage, waiting on an answer here, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and my Sharpie's right there on that little piece of Velcro, and I just stick it on the car and write the note that I need.
So they're actually kind of perforated, so you can peel them off really easy.
And this kind of shows here too. I don't know if you can see that, but it's quick release, and you can utilize them again and again.
Yeah.
But there's no residue. And one of the things I know you talked about writing on the cars. Somebody said, there's sometimes I'll go and I'll mark these things that I don't, I want them to see. And then they end up tattooing that grease pen into a scratch, and now they got to repair the scratch.
Or glass or plastic. I mean, there's texture plastic, low gloss colors, anything that is a matte, right? You don't want to write on that. So I will say this, on the Mark Safe Airs we have available in 3 colors. Fold the end over when you apply them, so you got a little tab to pull it off with, so you're not trying to cuss later. But just fold the end of it. It works great.
Yeah.
And they're easy release. You can stick them on, pull them off. Not for everything. We're not saying stop writing on cars. We are saying there's places where it's stupid to write on cars.
Stop writing
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we can do that.
I mean,
as
you
well.
don't have to. I'll take that sword.
But a lot of guys go, well, can't take my pen away. I'm going to be using that. Okay, great, but just don't use it right. Use it in the right spots, right?
Yeah. They come in a roll of 150.
Yeah.
And it's real easy to just pop them off.
Yep.
And they last forever, and they're nice and clean. You can mark the car. I shouldn't have to mark a car to get it repaired properly through my own facility.
Yeah.
If I haven't trained and worked with my technicians well enough to repair the car properly based on the repair plan I have written, and I have to mark a car up, that's called a training issue. Now, I understand marking and doing what you need to do to get the photos, to tell the story, to maybe send to a bill payer, or so that the customer knows what you need to do. And that's why I like the arrows, because then they're removable, and I haven't marked up a customer's whole car. I'll walk into some shops and every square inch of the car's got something written on the panel. Yeah. And it's like,
Well, they're walking around with the customer writing on the car, and the customer's going, you're vandalizing my car, right? Why are you doing that? Right in front of the customer on the inbound. It's like, why would you do that? So
I've had a few adjusters in a couple of states get visits from the police department from writing on customer cars. I mean, it is technically, if you didn't get permission to write on that car, don't touch it with a pen.
Absolutely.
And it's fun phone calls to make. So it wasn't when I was an adjuster manager and I had to go, wait, you have a warrant for what? I'm sorry.
Vandalism.
Okay. I did have to go get one of my adjusters out of jail once. That was a fun trip. And get their car out of impound. So that was, we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
We got time today.
So, I mean, that's kind of transitioning over into the estimating side of this thing. And one of the things about Collision Edge is, we're not going to be a me too. You're not going to see me come out with, something that the industry's already got, right? Because there's no point. Our stuff is all unique, and it's all driven around when you buy it. If you can't pay for it within a day or a week or a minute, you're not going to see it. The first estimate, right? So that's where some of our estimating tools came from as well. So the Dent Viewer was one of the products that
So this is how we met.
Yes, it is.
That's actually fighting. This is when
it was a fight.
It was. It was a Facebook thing. Yeah, shortly. shortly after.
So you know, being
Good things come out of fights
right.
sometimes.
That's
well,
right.
that's just if you can survive it. So Claire from Statics, you know, we got in a fight and she survived the fight. And now the product's
stupid.
there.
Okay, well I was wrong.
Yeah. So working cat for so managing cat teams for the farm for so many years, trying to get Hale to show up, and we were trying to figure out how to do, and we were out there in tents doing it with Polaroids, so that was interesting. We would use egg crates from fluorescent, so they were called egg crates, but the egg covers on fluorescent lights, and it gave me the checker pattern, and I could walk out on most cars, and it worked.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I could put some tape there for contrast, and it worked. And it would cost me $30 to buy these big light covers at Home Depot, and I'd cut them in half, and each one of my estimators would get a half.
Right.
And we did a video on it showing how it worked. And you reached out, and I was like, well, I'm gonna buy your stupid board for it. I'm gonna buy my egg crate out of Home Depot. I don't need you.
Yeah.
Noon in Georgia.
Well, this thing actually is kind of interesting too, because the original version was just like white vinyl.
Uh-huh.
And I think everybody thinks
One side.
Everybody thinks that this is just a piece. This is just printed vinyl.
I can make this on a clipboard, right? I can just pull out some fine line.
I can take a white clipboard. I can put. I'm done.
Sharpie.
But this
baby.
piece here, the reflective film is something. I mean, I laid up one night, and because a guy called me and he goes, "I can't get this dent," and I said, "Okay, I'm coming down there." And sure enough, I mean, the way it was built, you couldn't really see the dent. I had my buddy work on this. Is a great guy. I had him say, "Look, do you have that film they put on stop signs?" And he's like, "Yeah, why do you want that?" I said, "I don't know." I said, "See if you can put it on a board and see if you can print on it." He goes, "You can't print on that stuff." I'm like, "Okay, we'll try." So through a lot of trial and error, we figured out how to get the printing done, and we're doing it really well.
Right. And then it was a fight between he and I. We didn't increase the price of the board.
Yeah.
When he said, "Ginger, we need to put a second side because there are certain times on white cars or a highlight area where you can't utilize the reflective board."
Right.
So we didn't increase the cost, but we printed it two sides.
Yeah.
So
And you're still 27 years.
Yeah.
Still
Okay,
married.
all right.
I came on and said the whole thing's broke. So mainly the reflective side is great for darker colors, inside photography like in here. We'll show you here in a minute. The black side is really better for outside super bright conditions or light colors. So you'll kind of play with it and figure it out. And we've actually got a little QR code right here that you can, most of the cameras now recognize QR codes.
All cell phones,
It
yep.
actually has a video of exactly how to use the product.
And we
we've
have a
even
diagram
put this
now.
little diagram in here because I've had guys
do all kinds of stuff. Put the
everything
board
from
next to it.
I mean, I got the dent right here, and they lay the board beside it and take a picture and go, "I don't get it," right?
Yeah.
The board never goes in the photo. It's all about the reflection.
So we
Right.
started with this size and just, got rave reviews. And then we had some shops call and say, well, is there a way that you could get me a taller one that I can get, instead of taking a bunch of little pictures, I can put it in my estimating bay and keep it. So this was the second product we came out with, is the Dent Viewer XL. Same premise, two sides, but it, toggles so that you can stand back and take a picture, and we're going to demonstrate it.
Yeah.
Well, just in the last, 3-4 months now?
Yeah.
We came up with the MD size. And that's for walk-arounds. You put it next to your door. You don't want to carry this big board around, and you want,
This is basically like a repair planning bay.
Repair
kind of
planning,
scenario.
estimating bay, yeah. If you still are writing estimates out in the parking lot, I'll talk to you later about that. But if you're still writing estimates, this is a great tool because you can carry it very easily around with you.
What's amazing too, and as I work with shops, obviously with paint, all the Friday calls I get when they found this little dent, and they're like, the customer said it happened here, it didn't happen here, but they didn't capture that up front.
right.
So you're not going to walk around with this, and this is kind of small, but this piece right here, if you walk around with this with the customer, you can literally walk by the car with the customer, and you'll pick out every little dent on that car, and you can note them with your arrows, or if you want to write on them, I don't care, however that works. But
We're not going to make 27 years, Tim.
right, so
I'm just going to tell you.
we built this to set by the shop door, so on your way out on your estimate, you can just grab it, walk
Yeah.
around with it, do the thing.
But then when you're wanting just smaller photos, this is
Right.
easier to handle too.
So we talk about it all the time, and I'll just be, you don't need an estimate on collision photography. I see so many things out there going, let's take classes to teach you're just taking pictures of damage, right? You need to document the damage for yourself, for your file, for your records. You need to be able to show the customer what you see. Sometimes customers don't know, why is that a 10-hour dent? Well, I don't understand, looking at it from this way, it doesn't look this bad. Let me show it to you this way, and it's almost like a microscope look. This is how my technician sees the dent. This is what's going to happen. But then we do want to communicate with that bill payer. I'm not going to listen to them, but I want to communicate with them, right, about what I see and why it takes that way. And these come in handy when we go into RTA. And a lot of times in RTA, we're not going to re-inspect the vehicle. They're not going to send out, the other adjuster or the other IA that's hired in RTA.
Right.
He's going to come out and physically look at the car. We're talking then from our photos, from the photos the shop took, from the estimate. We're doing that this way. And so when you help us really have photos that set that apart, whether we're in RTA or we're in umpire or we're in pretrial deposition, these are huge for us. And so we use them all the time. Can you just show everybody how they work?
Yes.
Sure.
Let's do it.
Why not?
Go ahead.
I mean, it's a live
You're
show.
a lot prettier. Go
No,
ahead.
You go. Huh?
Go ahead. You're a lot prettier.
No, I'll take this one.
This is like asking, what are we going to have for dinner tonight?
Well,
Yeah, I don't know.
here, I'll do this one then. Basically, you're trying to take a picture of this dent right here. And am I okay
You're
standing
good.
this way?
Yeah.
Okay. So if I were to take a photograph of that dent, I would pull my phone out and pull the camera up.
Turn your flash on. That's a big piece. Most guys don't know how to do that.
Well, I'd say if you didn't have a dent board, you're probably going to try to take one that
Without
way.
the
Then you're going to
flash.
try to get
Yeah.
Yeah, so-
sideways.
So I'm trying
if
to
you
get
take this picture, this is kind of what it's going to look like
Yeah.
before.
I'm trying to get a bunch of different
Then you're going to do the
pictures.
really dumb thing where you stick your finger in it and go, this is the dent I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
And I get a
Right.
really good picture of your finger.
Right.
So now I'm going to take this same picture, and I know we've got some pictures we're going to throw up on the screen that show you various damage that we've taken of this. Now I'm going to turn my camera on with the flash on. I didn't turn the flash on with this other one, right?
Sorry.
But with my board, because of this reflective backing, I'm going to hold the board at a 45-degree angle, and I'm going to keep the board out of the photo because, my flash didn't turn on. That happens all the time.
Is it an iPhone?
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
So your iPhone's got all these new features, right? You got live
There it
photos
is.
and on and off. It
Yeah.
automatically turns
Yeah,
off.
they do updates every day, it seems like. So I pull the board back out of the photo, and I take a picture.
Yeah. So that's what
And-
the picture she's throwing up.
Yeah.
Is
all
what
right, so
you're
let's
gonna
throw
see.
that up and make sure that people can see it. That's the difference between you crouching and writing, and I see guys try to draw circles around the dent to try to
Right.
show, and here's my dent, and then here's like we've got here. I see people trying to draw this on cars and trying to tell the
Right.
story of the dent that they can't get to come out in a picture, when the board tells the story with one photo.
Yeah, and hold this. And we also have a picture of this dent.
Also purses too, Tim. You also
Yeah.
hold purses.
So if I were to try to take a picture of this one, same premise. Oh, I'm taking a picture of my face.
Well, we can jump in that and
That's-
have a live show selfie.
Yeah.
We haven't had one of those yet.
No, we need to.
We should
Absolutely.
do that. Yeah.
Okay, well, anyway, I won't keep
I don't
us
think she
going.
wants to
But
take a
all
live
right, so
show
I take
selfie
the
with us,
picture
too.
before of that, and then now I hold up my dent viewer board, and she'll show you the same picture. So now you'll have both of those photographs.
Perfect.
Those are the two dents. So, and the three sizes.
The biggest thing about these is the very first time you use them, they're going to pay for itself. And
Yep.
the thing that gets me out of bed in the morning is helping customers solve problems. So I had a guy call me not too long ago that said that this board for $30 made him $50,000 last year. That's what keeps me up. That's what keeps me going, right? That's what keeps me going. Yeah, we're not very smart, but I mean, seriously, this thing works.
We'll talk later.
Yeah, thank you.
Without him.
It's definitely going to
all
work.
Right. No, it makes a difference when you're telling the story for two different reasons. One, it just shows the damage, and so that in itself is valuable. But two, in negotiations, I need to get you or the other party, I need to get them focused on something that we're going to talk about. So I just don't want to come to the table and say, you see 3, I see 8. I got to come to the table with something that we can both agree that we see. So if I can show a picture of the damage and we can agree that we see that, you see that picture? Yes, I see that. Do you see how deformed that is and out there? And I think you're right. Your assessment of 3 hours for this particular part of the dent here is spot on. You're right where you need to be.
Right.
However, as you can see, these waves that I know weren't visible in the original photo and maybe what you were looking at gives me this extra. Now I'm taking them on a journey
Right.
of what I want, where I want them to go and what
Yeah.
I want them to see, and it makes me getting that 8 when they had 3 a whole lot easier. If I just come to the table and go, what do you mean you can't see that damage? What were
Right.
you doing? Were you working
Yeah.
at Starbucks last week and now you're an adjuster? All those things that we try to do as shops that are so obvious to us, we get it. This tool's not designed for you
Right.
to understand what you need to do
Well, that's
as a
the
body
craziest
shop.
thing is all the body man says, I just feel my dents. I don't have to see them.
Yeah.
Right? It's not the whole point. You want to get paid?
Right. And I still do. I mean, I know that there's no real true value to that anymore. And I walk in my car and people go, what do you think of the dent? The first thing I do is go, right? Like that's universal body
Right.
man talk. And like we're
Right.
talking to the dent and some sort of meditation with it. But this isn't designed for you
Right.
as the shop. We know that you see the damage. We know that you know what needs to be done.
Communication.
Yep. This is a communication tool.
Yeah, and so you can send them both pictures,
Mm-hmm.
the before using the dent viewer and the after using the dent viewer. So they, insurance companies too are picking these up too now
Yeah.
to help, because it streamlines not just communication from the body shop to the field adjuster, but from the field adjuster to the desk adjuster. It's now streamlining. Time is money for everybody.
Yeah. Right.
You know, and with COVID going on, and people have to use pictures now, right? More and more and more and more. They're not coming out.
Yep.
This is a way to
Yep.
document that.
And a dent's not a dent, let's face it. I mean, you can look at a dent, you have a soft, smooth dent, you have these dents that have these picks and rolls, and you have access behind the dent and how you're going to get at it, and style lines. There's all these different things that you've got to equate for when you're trying to figure hours, because it's really kind of still a guessing game, right?
Well, it's a negotiation two-step, as I like to
Sure.
say it, because the person on the other end of the line, no, they don't know what I'm talking about. No, that's not their skill set, and that's not, that we still used to have the adjuster training where I was like, that's a 5-hour dent,
Right.
right? So they still don't have that, but I have to train them in a way that doesn't make them feel unappreciated, or that I'm trying to say they're unintelligent, even though sometimes I'm trying to say they're unintelligent. I mean, I have to find a way to keep them at the table where they're not offended, where we can have a conversation to get to where I want to go.
Right.
So it's a little bit longer of a journey, but I got to have tools to do that. So it's a great
Yeah,
tool.
and this thing came from, I was standing in a repair plant with my buddy down in West Georgia, and he was trying to get a picture, and he was sitting there taking his
picture
camera.
dance.
He was doing this, and I looked at him and I said, what are you doing? He says, well, I'm trying to get these ceiling grids in the picture so I can show the dent. And I went, dang.
Bam.
So that night, we went home. The next day I had one. I
So
came
date
back.
night.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. And we actually gave them away. I gave them away to all my customers because nobody's going to ever buy these, right? And then when we made the tape thing and went to see them, I was like, we'll take some with us. We sold all the tape things. We sold the dent viewers. We
And-
sold all the estimating kits. And that's the blend stick
Yep.
is probably actually our first tool, really. right?
Before Collision Edge, I actually had an engraving business. And so when he was a salesman, he came home with these ideas to try to help his customers, right?
Yeah.
And so I could actually cut magnets out of silver magnet material and engrave.
If you have a silver one, send me one. I'll sign it for you.
Yeah,
it's really
that's
old.
an old one, and it was a material.
We handmade them in the basement.
Yeah. And so that's how this started. They actually were our first product.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Our very first
the
product.
The blend stick was our first
But they were
product.
silver and black.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have this product is the blend stick, and you already kind of referenced it here. I mean, that's a good image of it. We have it over here as well. But basically, what you're trying to do, and here we have marked on the car for a photo.
Well, that's how a lot of shops used to try to show the insurer what it was going to take to fix the dent and why it's not 3. Yes, this is 3, but this isn't 3.
You could use our errors and say this is the dent edge, this is the filler edge, and this is the primer edge.
Well,
if
the
you wanted
reason
to.
we did that too is because most people don't know how big
A
a
dent's gonna
dent
get.
really is. Because I used to do this all the time. It was a little bitty dent on the panel, and you think, well, that's a dent that big. Well, it's not a dent that big. You got to. Then our math on here is this: basically, you take and double the size of the dent, the area for your filler, because that's about what it's going to take. Then you double that for your primer. And this picture here, I've gotten a lot of grief over this. Well, that dent, that's way too big an area. But by the time you feather edge and everything you do, and this is a white pearl car, the repair is going to be that big.
Right.
So by putting that arrow right there, that you can show them
says
that.
primer edge right here.
Right.
It allows you to actually put on the car, the primer edge,
Yeah.
and then you lay it down the car and you take a picture, and now you see, well, I'm not only going to get this panel for disassembly and repair, I'm going to get this panel for disassembly and repair. We have this thing has been carried to every trade show everywhere, and this kind of shows you, you put it, you take a picture, and now I'm getting this panel, adjacent panel, right?
And we're always adjusting too. So this thing, we actually added another gun pass for the quad stage, right?
The
and really,
original ones came out
that's
to
even
only
more than that.
here.
We've got on our website a kind of a white paper on how we went about coming up with the measurements and all this. So if you want to say the insurance company goes, well, I don't believe that blend thing, I can do it in this. we have like documentation on our website that shows.
I always tell them they're hired. When can they start?
Right. Well, I can just, you can blend that within. And that was the big thing, is I was trying to match colors because they're like, they didn't give us any blend time on the door. I said, that's crap, because I'm trying to panel paint this pearl now, right?
Right.
And if I don't get the tear down time on the door and the additional panel, I mean, basically, if I can get that blend side, I'm going to double my net profit on the job.
Right.
Because they get all that extra labor. Labor's where you make your money, right? And
Yeah, you get all that
parts
extra
and
labor if you're not.
Clips.
I don't want to say if you're not dumb enough, but if you're smart enough to not accept the 1 hour panel blend, if you understand the extra labor hours that goes in there, it's good. If you're only taking the 1 hour panel blend, well, then you're losing money. So,
Yeah. And I've actually had guys say that they didn't make money by blending panels, and I went, I just don't get it.
Well, they're not estimating appropriately. So they'll
Right.
do the R&I, and then they'll take the 1 hour blend that the formula gives them out of the estimating system, but not reading the estimating system to say what all's not included in that.
Right.
Or that refinishing chart. I think it's probably, it may be about 10 years old now, maybe older, but Mike Anderson and ASA got together and put together a flow chart for here's all the steps you have to do if you blend a panel. Here's all the steps you have to do on a new and undamaged panel. And all paint time is new and undamaged panels. So that's one of the things we teach in an estimating class is, look, I could try to reinvent the wheel and snap my logo on it, but ASA did a great job with it, so just keep using those forms.
Sure. Right.
But I've got to have them, and then you guys, that blend stick thing stuck pretty good.
Yep.
So we came out with the estimating kit, right?
Right. So they come like this when you get them, but you can order the blend stick by itself, or you can order it in a kit called the estimating kit. It comes like this. It comes with 3 additional tools, which Tim's already thrown it up here, but you can see it on here. We've got the 3 different ones.
You can throw them over there on the car too if you want.
Yeah, here.
Yeah.
We can do that. Here, you do that.
We don't have any emblems on here, but basically it just gives you size and scale of the damage, and they're magnetic. So if I've got a dent here that I've identified with my arrows, or not writing on the car,
Dent
obviously,
viewer.
I can go in here and just give them some scale. I actually, one night I was watching TV eating popcorn, and we did I was watching CSI,
Was
right?
the popcorn relevant to the story?
Actually,
I don't know.
So we did, the CSI crime scene. They're putting a thing down to give the
Scale to damage.
scale to whatever they're showing, right? So
Yeah.
Scale
this
to
is where this thing came from. So that's that's the
So I was
estimating
watching
kit.
a crime scene. This dude totally died, and
Yeah.
I had an idea.
So it's
the collision industry.
yeah. So you guys can make fun of me if you
So-
like. I'm going to keep
No,
making
we're
this
totally
stuff.
going to make fun of you.
Oh, we're going to.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
But what's really cool is he came out with these ruler tools to give size to dent. But then we had a bunch of people saying, well, these are excellent to before you take an emblem off of the car. Everybody's got a phone now.
Yep.
Take a picture, use a combination of the different ones, find a point of reference and take a picture. Now when you put that emblem back on the car, the technician pulls it up and looks, that's exactly where it goes, because time and time again you're up in
Right.
shops and they're running up at the end of the day, I have no idea where this emblem
Or
goes.
they've wasted a half a roll of masking tape trying to make some sort of template to figure out where to go. These work great for that. We use them when we're doing post-repair inspections a lot to be able, as we talked about in that class, being able to show your ruler, show your damage, show your repair areas, so when we're putting together files on those, the rulers are out, and they're just phenomenally handy. You just definitely want to have a set hanging around somewhere.
Some of your high-end logos, too, emblems, don't come with, they just come with the letters. You got to
Right.
figure out how to put them on there. So
Right.
this works really well. We actually invented this at the trade show at SEMA
At
for a
SEMA.
guy. It's called the centerline stick.
We
so-
don't have anything up here
We don't
to
have
show.
anything, but the centerline stick is a 4-foot-long ruler, and the reason we built it is if a guy was going to do stripes, he can lay that across the hood, and the way the centerline stick works is you have a center line, and it counts out 1, 2, 3,
Here.
1, 2, 3,
Let me have it. I'll show it.
so that
I'm sure he can zoom in camera.
you can
Camera trickery.
for layouts it works really
Yes.
great. So actually you
So
do end up having
right
a
there.
left to right 48 inches, but you also have a center out 1 inches and the
Counts out
the
from
metric centimeters.
Hey, so
Right.
I know Jason's. I'm just thinking. I know that works great for hoods,
Yep.
decals, stripes, kits, whatever. I'm wondering if this could help me with centerline on ADAS calibrations, because I've got to get that as well.
Yeah.
So I belong.
I made it
over-
just for you.
I belong over there huffing paint. That's my skill set, and I know it. So I know Jason's back in Wisconsin today, joining us online. So I got to think about this one because it's got me.
Yeah, if you want something different, I'll make it for you. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm easy.
Over date night. When's date night?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is that on Fridays?
What's the next thing we're going to
Well,
do?
we haven't had very many here lately.
This is our first one in a while, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. We actually had to drive to Arkansas.
night.
to-
I just need to.
Arkansas.
I
Date
just need to
night.
know what the deadline for having my idea is.
Oh, well,
I mean,
then-
so
okay,
if date
so-
night's Thursday night, I know I got till Wednesday to get it to you.
Yeah.
These are money too. Now,
These
you
are fantastic.
Don't ever put anything but an aerosol can in there though, because this is not a koozie. I promise you. But it is magnetic. So
Yeah.
a lot of our guys, you got a $15 can of blending agent or whatever. You slap that in there and stick it on your booth wall. It's always handy. But it does not work for beer or any cold beverages at all. Anyway, but here you can.
Or a Coke. if
It
you're at work.
actually does.
Yeah.
And if you stay for the after hours show, I will show you on the garage door our favorite drinking game.
Actually, yeah, we could.
But the
make it
magnets in
interesting.
that, I mean, it is a magnetic koozie, but these magnets that we had to purchase are specific. They're strong.
For this weight, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
I mean, there are you can put a drink in here and it stays, and I love them. And when we're working in the yard or we're out, with the motorhome or whatever, there's drinks all over.
It'll hold
my
a
camper.
40.
Yeah, it'll hold. And that's the thing is you can't just go. I'm going to go buy some at the store. I don't have to buy the can thing because these are extra heavy duty to
Right.
hold a full spray can.
Yeah.
Right.
And you think about everything that comes in a rattle can that a body tech uses. Or that the painter uses, whether it's etch or some 2K epoxy, 2K can epoxies or whatever that you've got in a rattle can, your OE coats, any of those things. Instead of thinking about, God, I gotta have a shelf for that.
Yeah.
For me, there's a wall for that,
Yeah.
right? Or the side of my toolbox, and it all is right there without me having to dedicate an extra shelf or anything to it. So.
Well, it wasn't a complete date night, but how that came about was we're going to gauge it by how long. He came home and said, well, this can fell in the tip broke.
And it always breaks off inside of there, right? So you
Right.
can't get it out. You throw the can away.
Yeah.
Right,
and
right.
so
Or get
it
a
was
drill
way to-
bit.
Right, or the cans are rolling around the corner of the paint booth.
Right.
Or, there's 1,000 things that happen, and some of these tips, we just shot a series for some of the new RSG products. I've got 2 tips for different sizes, especially for rocker panel textures or whatever.
Yeah.
And if you drop the cap and it rolls away and you don't get it, and the next time I go and I'm wanting the wider fan because I'm going to shoot a wider rocker panel, and I'm like, where's the cap with my extra tip?
Right. Nooner.
Yeah, no, that's for you. So then it's not theirs. I mean, so there's just all these little things that I'm constantly throwing things away because the tech has deemed it useless, or they throw it away. That there's a place for everything and everything in its place. Now, COVID's been a mess, right?
Yeah.
But
okay.
something came out of COVID. You guys came up with something to help us out.
This was actually one of my ideas.
Yay! Was it date night?
I'm going to be quiet
All
now.
right.
Well, it was during COVID, so I think it was, but how this kind of came about, I mean, we talked about, all the things that has to happen with cars and, decontamination that's required by, the CDC, and it was changing daily and all that kind of stuff. And, I have a Costco and a Sam's on corners in Noonan,
Yep.
right? And I went to Sam's, and I'm a mom of 3 kids, and I have an elderly father-in-law in the basement, and
Why is he in the basement?
I mean, it's a
He lives there.
by
It's
his
very nice.
choice,
It's
or-
very nice,
Okay.
actually.
Okay.
It's very nice, actually.
finished basement.
Yeah, he hangs with us.
Yeah.
He hangs with us.
So anyway, he has a girlfriend next door at night. Anyway,
Yeah,
another
so
story.
that's a whole
and
other
he's
story.
helping
No,
us in
I
the
want that
business
story.
now.
I think that's the one we all want. Can we?
So I'll make this really short. I went to Sam's. They didn't seem, in Noonan, they didn't seem to really care a whole lot about sanitizing and everything. Costco, I walked in, they had sanitized carts at ours, they did everything. And so when it was fresh and new, I chose Costco because I wanted to keep my family safe, right? And I told everybody. So we had to figure out a way. I'm thinking as a mom dropping my car off in that situation, a body shop that actually documents and it shows that they care about me and my family is great. So I thought, okay, well, what would help? So we created the window clean called the COVID Decontamination Window Clean. It's over here on the car. It has a place for the customer name, inbound date, outbound date, RO number, inbound time, and outbound time. And then it has these tasks. A lot of people don't know that you not only have to clean, you have to disinfect too. You can't just disinfect. So inside clean, Inside disinfect on an inbound and outbound because you want to protect your
techs,
techs too,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Not just the customer, but your techs. Outside clean and outside disinfect. But we created this column thinking of the owner too with labor hours. How many times have you seen some of these cars come in body shops in various arrays of cleanliness, right? So
Man, it's going to take 5 hours to clean your car.
well, you know, and we're not telling the shops what to do because we have a QR code on here for them to go to the CDC guidelines that change daily or the EPA disinfectants that you can use. So the shop could have various things that they choose to use, but this is just a way to keep up with it and keep up with your labor hours because then you can choose to ask for a supplement if it's longer, if the insurance company's only giving you so much time, or you can say, I'm going to offer this as a discount to the customer, or
Maybe the customer pays.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe our surveys. Yeah.
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 I
I
mean,
mean, industry standard right now, pretty much all the insurers are pretty easy going with the $25 of material and an hour of labor. But if you've got more there, you got more there.
Yeah.
And documenting it and having a way to keep track of that on the car is a reminder for you to do it. So I know Laura, who runs our 20 group for the owners managers, was called probably I think it was last week. I'm losing track of days, right?
Oh,
2 weeks
it's
alive.
easy.
And had some cases. We have some cases going on in Florida. And right now, just in that state alone, the backlog of COVID cases, lawsuits, is about 4 years. And so these aren't the people that are suing their insurance company because they didn't count it as a business interruption. These are employees suing their employers for not keeping them safe and customers suing businesses for not keeping them safe. So already a 4-year backlog of COVID cases just in that one state. So when we talk about COVID and making sure that you have a plan for disinfection and safety, you definitely want to have that as a written process and SOP in a way that you're documenting it because these cases are real. They're happening out there.
Right.
And then make sure the materials, whatever you're using,
Right.
is compliant, and also be thinking about the allergies and sensitivities of your customers. We always have that one customer that has that solvent sensitivity, and we deliver a car back, and you can still kind of smell it solvent in the car. So just a heightened awareness. I had no idea we were already at 4-year backlog of cases. I'm like, oh my God,
that's new.
Yeah,
That's new.
Well, and that affects me getting my cases through the court in Florida. I'm like, come on,
Right.
you guys got to get them out of my way. I got to.
Right. So they come in packs of 25, but the more quantity you buy online, the cheaper it gets.
Yeah.
So.
It's a great little tool. Like we were talking about the other day, we're tech map and all kind of things we made. It's hard to, those things get printed with one format. They're not customizable specifically to your shop. So having the little add-ons, anything to remind your people, anything that's a visual indicator that lets the consumer know, hey, we thought about this for you.
Yeah.
Great things to have. So what's keeping you up at night? What's next?
Well, there's a lot of things keeping me up at night. More and more every day.
Yeah.
But so I don't know. We're going to keep doing what we do for customers, and we love the reach we're getting on Facebook and Instagram, and we have a YouTube channel now, Collision Edge on YouTube, and we try to put as much content as we can on there while we can. I mean, it's a day and night kind of thing. So
and something we're announcing today, we haven't even put on our is we have I turned on last night specials that are going to be on our website until the end of the year.
Perfect.
Yep.
Just very, very limited time, but specials where you can combine products into packages.
Yep.
So you can go check those out on our website.
www.collisionedge.com.
Boom. Well,
And
I have a
actually-
project I've already kind of hinted at you about, and so when this show's over, we're going to get back there, and it's a welding project Jason's got going on, so we're definitely going to run that one by you because Collision Hub and Collision Edge are going to be partnering up on a few cool things coming out. But you can get the Collision Edge products really from just about anywhere. There's a lot of jobbers in the country that carry them. You can get them directly on the Collision Edge website. You can also get them on Amazon. You can go into the Amazon store or Amazon Prime and order up your tape things.
And Collision Hub.
And Collision Hub. We have them on our website too. So there's 1,000 ways for you to get it. Now, there's a lot of imitations, a lot of copies. There's a lot of that out there because anytime you make something good, well, then somebody wants to capitalize on someone else's ingenuity to make a profit. But when you buy the Collision Edge products through the right channel, you're supporting a family business.
That's right.
People that are just like you, working every day, working in the shop, working in this industry, and trying to do everything you can. So if you've thought about any of those knockoffs, just like I get on my soapbox about the knockoff Sada guns and knockoff PPS and RPS cups and all that, there are people that put their blood, sweat, tears, heart, and souls and their families and their kids into making products to make your life better. And so pay it back or pay it forward and make sure you're getting the right products. Any questions you have, well, you can always hit me up here, and you can always find Tim and Ginger on social media. Sometimes Ginger's wielding a hammer. Those probably aren't days that you want to comment.
That's when he's got about 25 more ideas that I'm trying to pull back on.
But it's always fun to follow. So it's just at Collision Edge on everyone, and you'll watch the kids in there assembling the tape things, and it's just fun times. So we're going to see you guys back at 2:30. Is that right? Okay, I just want to make sure I'm getting an indicator of correct. Okay, we're going to see you guys back at 2:30 for the wrap-up show. So some guests that have been on in the first part of the week are going to join us back via Skype or Zoom. They're going to join us back via Zoom. Jason's going to Zoom in, and we're just going to do a wrap-up of all the things we learned, go back over all the show specials from companies that have been in here and the discounts and some of the things that are up there. So we'll see you back at 2:30. I can't promise that we're going to behave on that show because we're just real excited to get to the end of the fair. Thanks, guys.